I'm here today with Karen Hoffman of the City of Experts. Karen, thanks for joining us today.
My pleasure.
We had a conversation a little while back that I'd like to visit again. You were talking about becoming known locally, nationally, and globally. Tell me more about what that means and why that is important.
I actually say be known locally, nationally, globally. Yeah, be known. A lot of people, when they're looking at sharing whatever it is they're gifted. First of all, let me start with that the work I love to do is helping to promote people. And these are people that have a passion and a purpose in something they want to share.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't do much good if they're not sharing it locally, nationally, and globally. And most people, how do we help them get started to be known in their local market? So that's where it starts.
Okay.
So, that's what I like to help people do.
You had talked a little bit about the fact that everyone has a message.
I believe that. I believe people are born and they may not get it till later, but life experiences help shape them into having something that they can share.
And basically what you help people do is become known first. It is the first step locally.
Yeah.
And then nationally, and then...
Although I will tell you that sometimes it's easier for people to be known outside their market, because sometimes in your own market you're not perceived as the expert.
Ah, okay.
But in fact, that was one of the things that along with some other things, that was one of the things that I loved, was when I could tell somebody about somebody that was right in their backyard, like maybe they were going to bring somebody in from Chicago. I said, well, do you know so-and-so? Well, they're right here. Really? Never heard of them.
Okay.
So, getting people known in their own local market. And from another perspective, a lot of times people would like to be with their families more instead of traveling. So, I know a lot of speakers, and again, they may not be known in their own local market, but they're flying to New York or LA or whatever, and helping them be branded in their own local market means they can sleep in their own bed at night and be with their families. So,
I think part of what you're saying is that there are advantages to not just thinking locally, not just thinking nationally, but thinking about the pros and cons of all of it, really. Right. You had also mentioned something else at one point about the ability to make a difference and kind of the why. Why do you want to become known on these different levels?
And to me, that goes back into what's your purpose. If you know your why, I think it gets a lot easier to be in front of people. Mm-hmm. If you know what you're here to do.
Well, to me that makes a lot of sense, because if you have an authentic why, mm-hmm. then you can speak from passion, from authenticity, and with more power. And
the piece on passion cannot be, it just cannot be minimized, because people can sense when someone is congruent with their message. Mm-hmm. And when people are speaking a lot of times from their absolute heart, they can make a bigger difference. You got to see Lethea Owens not too long ago.
Yes, that's right.
And she is such an on-purpose, passionate person for making a difference on the planet. And, it wouldn't do her much good to be, kept small to help make some of the change that she wants to help in the world. And she did start locally and then nationally, and now she is globally, and in fact, she's going on her world tour.
Oh, that's tremendous. And then getting back to what you'd also said about making the difference, then that's also the rewarding part. It's mm-hmm. not just the financial aspect and other things related to that, but there's that reward in making the difference, and that's part of the why you want to intentionally become known.
And those are the people I really love to work with the most, are the ones that and even some of them don't even realize, when you first start working with someone, they just know that they have this passion and they don't necessarily know how to get it out there. Mm-hmm. And when they start, hearing people speak to them later about what happened in the workshop, or what happened when they saw them speak, or when they read their book, or when they saw the article, and they know, because if they're being told by those few, they're affecting a lot more than that. Mm-hmm. It's a lot of times it's the few that fuel us, but there are many that are having a ripple effect.
The many who are helped that just won't raise their hand and come forward.
Some people don't even know how to do that.
Yeah.
I mean, I talk to people, because I'll write a writer, or I'll write someone I'm not afraid to just reach out to anyone. And many times you'll end up corresponding with people. You know, that a book that changed my life, or there used to be a column in the St. Louis Post-Dispatch, and this is actually when I talk to people about being known, is you never know by reaching out to someone where it might go. So Tim McGuire wrote a great column in the Post in the business section for years. It was a nationally syndicated column, and I loved it, and so I would reach out to him every once in a while. We developed an email dialogue, and one day out of the blue, he emails me. He wants, because I've been telling him about people that he could interview that I thought were really cool, that were mostly here in St. Louis. And one day he calls me and he says, I want to interview you. And it ended up going national because I reached out to someone about the good he was doing.
Well, that's tremendous.
And I find that happens many, many times. Many, many times.
Well, Karen, thank you for sharing with us today.